Basically, there's a church and anything that you're part of. Just like the church, do you remember that I was doing my thing on? The church was one of the first churches.
Mm-hmm.
And it's had a powerful membership, and over time, for different reasons, because the community changed, the city, gentrification, people move away, people have different views now, life, just the evolution of modernity in life.
Mm-hmm.
And the church is not what it was. It's less members. And if the church doesn't last, what should the people do? Is it the fault of the church? Is it just something that has to be? What do you think?
Well, some of it is the fault of the church because, like I said earlier, like the different things that some of the people that are ahead of the church are doing, they're not actually teaching or bringing the people in the church for the right reasons or giving the people what they need to actually keep the church alive. And that is the reason why most people actually go from one church to another, because first thing they say is, oh, well, I'm not growing here. But in a sense, you still got to fault that person, because if they actually took the time to actually see or actually receive the word and not actually look at the person that it's coming from, or like I said with the songs, whoever's singing the song and actually receive the word like they're supposed to receive the word, then that in itself would keep the church alive. So, I mean, it's a grouping of different things that actually stop the church from actually growing the way it's supposed to be growing, and reason why some people don't stay in church. It's a lot of things. Like I said, it's a lot.
The church that I'm doing, that I did, they had a whole bunch of problems, stuff that you also talk about, but their biggest known problem was the community. The church, it changed. It wasn't
just within the church.
It wasn't the black. No, that's the community around it. The city, Baltimore changes all the time. Where black people are now is not where black people were before, and where black people are going to be is not where they were or wanted to be in the past. And this church, it was a foregone black community. Then later on, the Camden Yards sprouted up, Raven Stadium sprouted up, certain communities that's mostly white and gay based sprouted up. Money came. Everything cut it off.
So you're saying the church itself didn't change with the time, or just that the time changed and the church stayed? Like, what are you saying, though? Like,
basically, I'm just giving the example of how the church is. Everything that the people had then isn't here anymore. Parking, community. You know how it is. Baltimore Ravens baseball going on at the same time. Soccer, hockey, football, whatever. There's no parking in Baltimore, no matter where you at.
Where you going? That's true.
It was, and most of the younger people move out. They're going to school somewhere else. Most people don't come back to town, to city. And most of the older people, some of them no longer live near the church like they used to. They said she should be walking distance, but now they live outside of Baltimore, and then they travel. And some people travel from Virginia just to go to this church in Baltimore. When this church is gone, if this church no longer become what it was? This is the first black school in Maryland. Then it became a church. Then later on, it became the first Methodist church, Black Methodist church in Maryland. And it was a whole bunch of other stuff. Was this church for these communities and for most part of Baltimore at one point in time? It's basically becoming extinct. Everything about the church is so historic.
Crumble, basically.
It's everything from the 1800s, the building to how the church is built, was original wood and everything. But there's no one there really to manage no more. What should the people feel? What should the people do about it? If there is, should they just let it be, pray, and move on, as most people usually would do? Is it that God, this is their fate? Everything never lasts.
Well, with the church saying that, the fact that, I don't think a church will ever really crumble, even if they stop worshiping in that building itself. Whoever the pastor or minister or whatever is, if they lose that building, I mean, they'll move on to somewhere else. People don't even care about history no more. That means nothing. And like you said, some people, they say pray and leave it be. But depending on who's still at that church, they won't allow it to go down because of, like you said, the history or just the rich background that's associated with it. So it just depends on how do people actually feel about the church itself. Like, some people, like I said, just they not even gonna go to church. They think they can get church somewhere else. So it really doesn't matter. You said people move away, they won't come back. They won't come back. But I mean, if it's that important to people, then they'll keep it alive. They'll save it, because there's different things that you can do to actually keep a church alive. I mean, you still put websites up. You can billboards. You got different things that you can do to save the church. So like I said, it's up to the people that are actually ahead of the church. To me, that's my opinion, though. I mean,